Raymond Williams' Communications is a seminal work that critically examines the role of mass media and communication systems in modern society. This book is deeply rooted in the broader intellectual tradition of cultural materialism, which Williams pioneered. His analysis goes beyond the conventional understanding of media, delving into its historical development, cultural implications, and the political power dynamics embedded within communication systems. This note will provide an overview of the book's key arguments and themes, while reflecting on its enduring relevance in today's media-saturated world. One of the first aspects of communications that stands out is Williams' insistence on contextualizing media within historical and social structures. For Williams, communication is not a neutral process of transmitting information. Rather, it is a socially and culturally constructed activity that reflects and reinforces the prevailing power structures. He traces the evolution of communication from oral traditions to print media and later to broadcast media, highlighting how each stage in the development of media technologies has been shaped by the social conditions of its time. Williams emphasizes that the rise of mass media, particularly in the 20th century, is inextricably linked to industrial capitalism. As societies became more industrialized, the means of communication also shifted to serve the needs of this new economic order. This insight is foundational to Williams' critique of media and its role in perpetuating inequalities. The central thesis of Williams' book is that communication systems are not just tools for conveying messages, but are integral to the shaping of culture and society. He critiques the view that media can be understood purely in terms of its content, arguing instead that the institutional structure of media production and dissemination is just as important, if not more so. This point is especially relevant when considering how media conglomerates today control vast portions of the information flow. Williams anticipated this trend, warning that the concentration of media ownership in the hands of a few powerful entities would have serious consequences for democratic participation. He argues that when a small number of corporations control the majority of media outlets, they also control the narratives that shape public opinion. This undermines the democratic ideal of a free and open exchange of ideas, leading instead to the dominance of corporate interests. Another important theme in communications is the relationship between media and ideology. Williams was heavily influenced by Marxist thought, and his analysis reflects this intellectual background. He contends that media is a primary vehicle through which dominant ideologies are reproduced and disseminated. For example, he argues that the portrayal of consumerism in media serves to reinforce capitalist values by presenting the pursuit of material goods as the key to happiness and fulfillment. This ideological function of media is subtle yet powerful, shaping individuals' perceptions of themselves and the world around them. Williams suggests that because media is so pervasive, it has the ability to influence not just what people think, but how they think. This process, which he terms cultural hegemony, is one of the primary mechanisms through which ruling classes maintain their dominance. Despite his critical stance, Williams does not suggest that media is inherently bad or that all communication systems are oppressive. Instead, he advocates for a more democratic and participatory form of media, one that is controlled by the people, rather than by corporations or the state. He calls for the creation of alternative media that can challenge the dominant narratives and provide a space for marginalized voices. This vision of democratic media aligns with Williams' broader commitment to socialism and his belief in the potential for human agency to create a more just and equitable society. In this sense, communications is not just a critique of the status quo, but also a call to action. Williams' analysis of media is particularly relevant today, in an era of digital communication and social media. While Communications was written long before the advent of the Internet, many of Williams' insights can be applied to the contemporary media landscape. The rise of social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram has transformed the way people communicate and consume information. On the one hand, these platforms have democratized media to some extent by giving individuals the ability to share their own content and engage with others directly. However, Williams' concerns about the concentration of media ownership and the role of ideology in shaping public opinion are just as applicable in this context. The major social media platforms are owned by a small number of tech giants, and the algorithms that govern what content users see are designed to maximize profit rather than promote democratic discourse. This has led to concerns about echo chambers, misinformation, and the erosion of public trust in media institutions. Moreover, the commercialization of digital media has intensified many of the issues Williams identified in communications. The Internet has not escaped the logic of capitalism. Rather, it has become a central part of it. Online advertising, data mining, and the commodification of personal information are all extensions of the capitalist logic that Williams critiqued. The Internet, like traditional media, serves as a site of ideological struggle, where corporate interests and democratic ideals are often in conflict. In this sense, Williams' analysis remains remarkably prescient, offering a framework for understanding the political and economic forces that shape the digital media landscape. In addition to its relevance for understanding contemporary media, Communications also provides valuable insights into the role of education in shaping communication systems. Williams was a strong advocate for media literacy, arguing that individuals need to be educated about how media works in order to critically engage with it. He believed that education could empower people to resist the ideological pressures of the media and participate more fully in democratic life. This emphasis on media literacy is particularly important today, as the line between information and entertainment becomes increasingly blurred, and the ability to distinguish between reliable and unreliable sources of information becomes more difficult.